Just speak, Jesus. Come on, let me know of the please. God, I gotta hear your voice. I'll be able to make my choice. Said I'll never go by myself, no. God, I really need your help. Got me going through the night, and I know it will be alright. I'm ready, Lord. Said that I'm ready. Said that I'm ready. Ready. Said that I'll never go, no. Not on my own.
Speak to my heart, Holy Spirit. Keep on talking to me, talking to me. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Good morning, Spirit Rising family. Good morning, Eileen. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Adande. Good morning again, Natasha. Hi. So I'm assuming Carolyn is traveling. Yes. Well, it looks like right now there's only a small group of us. And I guess I'll just welcome us into this sacred space, this space where our spiritual companions gather in a circle of love and song, deep listening, open hearts, and open minds. And we enter this space together in reverence for all who come, because all are welcome here. And with gratitude and with oneness, we seek the sacred, the mysterious of it all, the mystery that is spirit within us and without, everywhere present. And in this space, where our souls feel free, feel safe to speak, and our hearts find room to grow, may we open and welcome the Holy Spirit. Welcome to the magic of Spirit Rising, a salon for the soul. Good morning, Sally. Good morning. Good morning. I'm thinking that I'm going to go on and pray us in to this circle, hearts to the Holy Spirit and to the love that's within us. So I invite you to still your minds, to open your hearts, and to ground yourself in the presence of the Holy Spirit. Take a few deep, sacred breaths and allow your minds and soul to rest in God. Let us pray. In the deep silence of the soul, I enter into the heart of God, where all is well. I anchor myself in this present moment where love dwells. I release all struggle, all fear, and all judgment. I return to the stillness, the clarity, and to the love that I know is present. The universe flows in perfect order, and I align myself with its rhythms. Peace flows through me. I choose thoughts that align with the truth. I speak words that heal and actions that uplift. In the temple of my inner being, all is well. Speak to our hearts, Holy Spirit. Speak to our hearts. Amen. Ashe. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. And so it is. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning. Glad you could join us. Good morning. In Louisiana, no doubt. Right. Knowledge, girl. Yes, yes, yes. Well, this is our check-in time, and there, we go with how many we have right now. I'm not going to delay the time. We're going to move right on. And these are some very interesting times. And sometimes, when I think about it all, it's kind of an exciting time to be alive and to be witnessing God's movement through the cosmos and how things are evolving. So I ask you this morning, it's our check-in time. So I ask you this morning, how have you experienced the divine during these last 4 weeks of July? And if your soul could talk, if it could talk, what does it desire to say right here and right now? So, all right, Spirit Rising family, how are you arriving this morning? How's your heart?
I'll go. Good morning.
Good morning, Azande.
I have had a very interesting week that began with an unfortunate COVID scare at our office. So that was interesting. But all is clear. But it also led to a bunch of other stuff. Um, and I felt like I was kind of drowning and behind. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna say miraculously, but not really. But I got to a point yesterday where I was like, oh wait, like I'm okay. Like I'm almost, you're never caught up. But I was at a point where I was like, look at this. And I got so excited because I've also had insomnia um, for the last couple of weeks. So I'll wake up at like 2:30, 3:30, and I'll just be up until like 8. And most of the time, if I can get another hour, I can get to work. But um, I was like, wait, I can go home and I can just go to sleep. Amen. So I woke up this morning at like 8 o'clock, having slept through the night and feeling absolutely rested. And I was like, ain't that something? So I just feel calm in a way that I haven't in the last couple of weeks because of all of these different things. So happy to be here. And I got my journal and my pen.
Good, good. No teaching today. We're just reflecting and journaling. Yeah, I know that COVID scare. You walk around thinking, oh, everything's okay, we're safe. But then, the news keeps telling us, yeah, that COVID is still out there. Our health providers keep telling us that. But, we don't regard the health and safety practices to prevent or limit the spread of the COVID virus. So I'm glad that you're well. Uh, I've been dealing with a little insomnia, but I'm trying to work on my sleep patterns. I'm not consistent, and I think that's a big problem. So yes, miraculously, I'm happy that you are well and that you got a good night's sleep last night. That's wonderful. Nothing like a good night's sleep, I can tell you. It's so uh, refreshing and rejuvenating. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Adante. Good morning, Sally A. Good morning. Yes, we're just doing our check-ins right now. So I'm just asking, how are you arriving this morning? If your soul could talk, what does it desire to say right now? And how have you experienced the divine this week?
Well,
Well,
it's interesting, Adonde, because I'm experiencing insomnia as well. And Raina, I'm getting ready to head to the store when we're done and get some melatonin, because I usually don't go to sleep until the sun is coming up, and that's really wild to me. I don't know what that is. And then, drum roll, I'm going to be a grandmother.
oh, yes, yes. Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations.
My
Yes.
baby's having a baby, so I'm excited beyond belief, and or maybe not beyond belief, but yeah, she's yeah, we call the baby Peanut for right now. She doesn't want to know the gender, and I didn't either. So, but that's yeah. So all of that. So yeah,
That's
yes.
yes. So
we waited. She's like, I don't want to tell anybody till I'm in my next trimester, and that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try. But yeah, so um, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
how wonderful. I just feel this joy bubbling in my soul. That is such good news. Thank you for sharing. Even though I kind of inferred that you weren't supposed to be sharing right now.
I asked first.
Oh, good, good. Well, I should know
She
that
just
you.
happened to walk into my room, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna tell him. She's like, okay.
All
Okay,
right. Her secret is safe with us
yes,
for now.
absolutely.
We're not going to share it. And so you too are experiencing a
Mm-hmm.
little insomnia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't fall asleep until 4? Oh, my.
No, this morning I I'm in this. I don't know. I actually started writing another children's book, so I just said, so if I'm awake, I'm just gonna continue and do what I need to do. So I did put it to good use this morning. But yeah, as I looked out and was like, look, the sun's up.
Wow.
I have no idea what that's about, but yeah.
Ooh, I know.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, I hope the melatonin works.
I'm sure it will. So
Okay, good. Then I better go out and get some for myself. Thank you, Sally. And once again, congratulations. We
thank you,
can't
everybody. Thank you, Raina.
for Peanut to enter into the world. Yes. Ah, that little baby. I love
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Oh. Mm. And is this your second or third children's book that you've written since you retired?
I had to think that this is my third,
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
the third one, yes. So, yep.
Okay. Well, we're just waiting. We're just waiting. Have a book signing. Yeah.
All of that,
All of that.
absolutely.
Yes. Good morning, Taya. We're just checking in this morning. How are you arriving? If your spirit, if your soul could talk, what is it desiring to say right now? And how have you experienced the divine this week? Yes. Rebecca, I see your hands up.
Hello, Spirit Rising family.
Listen to her. Just all reposed and relaxed. So,
I'm arriving sleepy.
oh, another sleep.
Yes. Yesterday was a full day. It was our, there are 10 of us down here, and we did all the sightseeing, the riverboat cruise, and the French Quarter, and the beignets, and the chocolate and dookie chase last night for dinner, and it was a long day. It was also our anniversary, so and all of the people, I think, except the children, because they weren't born, were in our wedding. So it was good to be with family that's seen our journey. Um, they were with us 17 years ago when we said yes. So that was lovely. And then I stayed up watching movies. We watched movies, and then I stayed up watching TV because I didn't have to go to work and I'm on vacation and I can do what I want to do. And I stayed up until 5 or 6. And then I got up at 10 something because Celine moved and the whole house is active. I could smell food. And I rolled back over and laid down, and then Spirit said, "It's time for Spirit Rising. Get up. You shouldn't miss Spirit Rising." So here I am. Here I am, even though I really should be doing more sleeping. But it feels so good not to have to, just not to have to anything. That I could do a marathon, Netflix. Oh my goodness. So that's it. I'm not up to anything in particular. I'm just sort of drifting in and out of what I want to do, and I'll be going for a swim soon enough. The kids are already out back doing their thing. So good morning, Spirit Rising family.
Good
I'm to you
morning.
today as a lady of leash.
So, everyone who was in your wedding party at your wedding is there with you now. That's beautiful.
No. Our
Oh,
wedding party had like 86 people.
your wedding?
Mama Love.
No, I didn't mean the wedding itself. I just meant.
No. The wedding
Oh,
party had 86
okay.
people. The
All right.
wedding had more than 500. But
Whoa,
yeah, it was a big
it
thing.
was.
We had the elders council and the men's the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the children's they were flower girls, ribbon girls, children circle. So it was because all the walks of life had to be represented, all the stages, and we had the ancestors, like 40 of them up on the altar, and so
Oh,
it was
hallelujah.
a big thing. But all the people who are with us right now were in our wedding, except for the kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right, right. 17 years ago. No, not yet. Riverboat, and what's a Dookie Chase, Rebecca?
That is it's a Creole restaurant. It's the preeminent sort of soul food, upscale restaurant here in NOLA. And it's a particular kind of black because they're Creole, right? So their cuisine is Creole cuisine, and it is absolutely lovely. It's a New Orleans institution. So when you come here, you got to go to Dookie Chase, and Dookie Chase was Edgar Chase Sr., who opened the restaurant. It was a sandwich and coffee shop in 1941, and his family has kept it going all of these years. So if you make it to NOLA, you got to get to Dookie Chase, and I guess that was his nickname. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Well, I'm glad and envy is all the same. So, yes, thank you for showing up this morning. Anybody else and happy anniversary. I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm still rejoicing over the new information about the upcoming newborns in Sally's family. That just has preempted my mind right now. I'm just taking space. Anyone else like to check in this morning? How are you arriving? Ted, you're looking awfully beautiful this morning in that. I don't know what color that is. It's not lavender, but it's very pretty on you.
Thank you. I'm wearing some hot pink, I think it's called, and I'm with the folks that I've heard check in and moving super slow this morning. I had a really energized week, and then it was like a light switch went off when I could feel the moment when I became premenstrual. It was I was so out there, awesome, and then it was like a light switch came. All of a sudden there was this anxious buzz throughout my body maybe a day and a half ago. And since then I've been what can I do to ramp my anxiety down? And I finally was just nothing. The best thing I can do is just nothing. If I rest right now, I'm fine. I'm only spinning out when I'm trying to make decisions and do too much. And so I'm it's Sunday. I can make it I have a lot I have to do, but I don't actually. And so I'm just in the recline and grateful to be here and taking note, learning. I mean, I'm always tracking my cycles closely to hold me well, but I feel even at almost 50, I just keep learning how to do it better and better. And so, yeah, today is a day of rest.
Well, it sounds like you're very much in tune with your body during that time because you knew, yes, you knew right away. And light switch just came right on, and there you are. I wanted to say something about, as you are more and more aware of your body and its rhythms, I think that comes kind of innately, kind of organically, if you're up and listening, willing to be open. Thank you, Taya, and hope you have a good day of rest and relaxation and reflection. Anybody else like to share before we move in to our discussion? I'm not teaching today. I'm just reflecting on all the wonderful teachings we had for the last 3 weeks.
Hey, Mom, I'm gonna come back. I have to tell you, I could
Yeah.
resonate with what other people were saying earlier. We are in a time of great change. Yeah, I could resonate with everything but this the grandbaby coming now. I love the grandbaby coming. I ain't got none of that happening over cheer. Okay. Sally. I support new life coming through my little sister though, and coming to my big sister.
Yes.
But the other things about the sleep patterns and the anxiousness and those things, we are, I just want to say for the record, I mean, the part of the reason why I couldn't just sleep through Spirit Rising today and roll over is because something in my spirit said you must be in community today. There's reinforcement in this place, right? There's reinforcement here. There's love here. There's spiritual wisdom and connection here. And this time of tumult and turbulence and agitation, it is the times itself. There's an energy about it. And my experience of most of the people on this call as a part of Spirit Rising is that we are highly intuitive and highly empathic. And so sort of one way of interpreting things is like, what's happening in my personal life, that my personal circumstances that might make it more difficult to fall asleep, or that may have me in a certain mood and or a certain emotional state or feeling state. And that's certainly true that our personal circumstances are contributing to where we are and how we are. But for the record, our collective consciousness is doing a number right now. And we are attuned and attuning to that. So I just want to say that a good deal of what we're experiencing isn't personal. We are picking up on, downloading, sensing literally what is in the ether or what is in the atmosphere. And it has a vibration. So do with that what you will, but and if it doesn't resonate, put it on the shelf. But I want to say that so that some of what we're experiencing is really not ours specifically, though it is, I suppose, ours collectively in some ways. And I'll be quiet in a minute, that argues for fortification, right? Though why I couldn't miss Spirit Rising, and my soul was like, hey, lean in. And whatever it is that we do to get that fortification, now is a good time for that. And now is a good time for spiritual practice and for surrounding ourselves with love and all the things. It's a good time for it because it's not just us, family. It isn't just us, though it is particularly our experience, but there's more happening, and we need each other, and we need fortification. And I'll be done.
That resonates with me because I feel it. I mean, it's not something, it's just like Theo was saying, being in touch with her body. I feel it. I feel the tumult and the fear, and being an empath it's heavy like humidity. It just falls on your skin and it just stays there. And yeah, melatonin, Spirit Rising, meditation, whatever practices, being still, resting, fortification. And that's one of the reasons I am so excited about in anticipation of having a place for Empower Institute to meet and Spirit Rising to be in person, because I miss that community. And I always say it's amazing how we have stayed together on Zoom all these years, because this is where we come for our fortification, for our love, for our healing, transformation. And I'm going to shut up. Taya, I see your hand is up. Yes.
Well, I'm so moved by Mama Urena and Rebecca, what you're saying. And what arises for me is like, in addition to, or as a part of fortification, one of the things that this time is asking for that is like both requiring and offering a lot for me is like making different and essential choices. Like, I have, for example, like a bunch of opportunities and travel and things coming up, and like an older version of me, a previous version of me would have like jumped on all the things or like done it in a certain way. And right now I'm just like, I can only do what is essential. Like, it's only for me to do what is essential, and like the extra, it's not for me, it's not the time for extra, it's the time for essential. And that's a different kind of choice for me to make. And so I'm like listening in for like, what I'm noticing is I'm knowing things, but I'm having to make like to like choose putting it into action differently than I have, is taking some courage. And so yeah, that's just another thing that arises for me, is like in this time of change, like really listening deeply to how am I showing up, and how am I showing up differently, and how am I like willing to, what am I willing to say no to so my yeses can be more clear. And it's exciting and a little scary for sure.
You kind of froze on us, but yes, how am I showing up? Yeah. And I love it that you have chosen and you've been on this path now. I think I know since the beginning of January, of slowing down and showing up more for you in the decisions of what you know are right for you. And that's beautiful, Taya. I think that little time you had in recovery helped you too. Yeah, I think that helped a lot. Yes. So thank you for sharing. Thank you. Uh, Rebecca wrote, Spirit gave me the name for our new home, Sanctuary. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I
It
love
came
it.
yesterday, Mama. It came
Wow.
yesterday in in a meditation. That
Wow.
if and maybe if that's not the name, that is the intent. That is its function,
Yes.
right? And maybe it's the name too, but it was very, very clear that that is its function. I think in response to the times too, like what is stirring. But I'm deeply moved by what Taya just said. I mean, this is the turbulence. This is a time of dissolution and death, and it's a time of emergence and birth. And the how am I being, right? It feels to me that like there's new life. I guess that's the way I can relate to Sally, right? Outside of the literal physical life giving, it does feel like new life um, is emerging, wants to emerge through me, and so I can relate to you, and that means putting down ways of being that don't serve me, like choosing differently. Um, and that choosing differently is actually in alignment with my greatest good, right? It feels like, it feels like, it feels like an invitation to greater self-love, right? To loving myself and making the kinds of choices that honor um, that honor me and that honor what is, to use your words, essential um, in me. And it is it is seeking to get me in right relationship with myself. That feels like um, what it is that's being that's the invitation I was saying that's being required, but there sort of is no requirement in that way. I can continue in the ways that I have, but not easily, um, not without consequence, right? So this is asking me to live in right relationship, like be loving to myself, right? That is what it is, and anything that isn't for that, don't just poo-poo it and be like, well, it's worth it if, yeah. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Thank you. And I was thinking, being in right relationship with myself, uh, I have now all these physical therapy practices that I have to do throughout the day. And yesterday and Friday, it was like hit and miss. I didn't really take the time to honor my body to in support of its healing. And today, like you said, there's consequences. I'm feeling it in my body. And so it's like, okay, as soon as you get off Spirit Rising, you have to do what you know you have to do. And I've been resisting that regimen because it is time consuming. It is so time consuming, but it is so beneficial. I can tell just 2 days. And wow, I'm back almost like to where I was, especially with the lymphedema. So I am so thankful that, yeah, I have to align myself with what is good for me and realize that when I don't do that, there are consequences, which I've known, but now I'm more aware. Thank goodness. That's one of the things I love about Spirit Rising is that it expands my consciousness and love, not only for myself, but for the collective. And I need you. I need you all. And that's why I'm here. So thank you, Rebecca. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, guys. Anybody else before we move on? Because we're going to get our journals out and we're just going to write. Rebecca looks like, no, I'm not writing this morning. I'm relaxing. But I know you'll formulate your thoughts in your head. There won't be any problem getting a response from you. And anyone else, I see Taya has her notebook. I'm sure Sally has something there. I'm sure. So, sometimes nothing comes to me as far as an offering to teach. And I struggled all week. I picked up the Great Cosmic Mother. I've been doing a Course in Miracles. Now, I must say, I didn't do the Great Cosmic Mother when I had just come into Spirit Rising. And when I looked at that book, it was like, this is a foreign language to me. It was so dense and convoluted. I'm like, not yet. Not yet. But I picked it up this week and it's still dense. It's still very dense to me. It's something that I really shouldn't be reading alone. So maybe when we're in our new home, we can do a new book club and do a new reading. I thought I'd toss it out there and let that, yeah, bring it on. So I thought, okay, well, let's just reflect because so many times we get head knowledge, but it's the application of what we learned that really makes the difference. So going back to our first week in July, when daughter Rebecca, our group teacher, so profoundly led us in a discussion of our core being. Who am I? Why am I here? And how she emphasized that we've been so focused on our conditions that we have taken attention from our core being, our capital S selves. And I had to sit with that because when people ask me, who am I in any spiritual setting, I freeze and I feel this great trepidation because I know who other people said I am. I know the narrative behind me as an Black woman, a full figure Black woman, female in a patriarchal society, growing up, if you will, in the hood, marginalized. So I know all that, but coming into who am I, my capital S, at the very core of my being, I was afraid to explore and dive deeply into. No longer am I so fearful of excavating who I am, who I am. I still am fuzzy on the concept because at any given time, I can be triggered to revert to that old self and that old way of being if I'm not cautious and fully in tune with what's going on. So for our first provocation, I thought about these questions that have been tossed around in many spiritual groups and even among this one. And the first inquiry, and Adante, I don't know if you can be the scribe this morning.
I'm already poised and ready.
I love it. I love it. I want you to dive deeply into these questions. The first one, and you can choose it, but we'll see what happens. Number one, what is your essence beyond your public image? What is your essence beyond your public image? Two, who am I before the world told me who I should be? Who am I before the world told me who I should be? And three, what would it mean to live from my core being every moment with nothing held back? What am I afraid to discover if I go all the way in? What would it mean to live from my core being every moment with nothing held back? And what am I afraid to discover if I go all the way in? Now, I am going to set a timer for you to reflect and respond in your journal, to contemplate and become present to your thoughts. I think, what do you think, 5 minutes? Should that be ample time? You think, is that too long? Oh, good, okay. 5 minutes works. I'll mind the time as I
Mama,
write too.
Mama,
Yes,
5 minutes. I'm
yeah.
not even gonna be able to
Okay, all right, all right.
to get started.
Okay, that's because you're such a prolific writer.
Okay, 5 minutes. All right. Okay.
No, 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 I'm willing to give us 7.
Okay.
And I didn't mean for you to jump into all 3, but choose 1 or 2, and then you can revisit it during the week. That's what
Okay.
I
Yeah.
always do.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Thank
I'll give us 7 minutes. Thank you, Adante. Okay. Thank you, Latasha. Thank you for the music. Thank you. Well, Adande, I got you right. I got through almost two. So yes, 7 minutes may not be enough either. All right. Anybody like to share before moving on? I would love to hear what you responded, your reflections. What would it mean to live from my core being every moment with nothing held back? What am I afraid to discover if I go all the way in? And who am I before the world told me who I should be and are? What is your essence beyond your public image? And you can choose any one that you chose to write on and reflect on it this time. All right, Tasha, we love your music. But we are going to ask you to stop the music now so we can share.
I found it interesting that those three questions seem to be the same question.
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
And as I was writing, I was like, as profound as they are, I think where I am in my life right now, I'm discovering that this is what what I'm struggling with.
Sally, hold on for a minute. Can you hear the music?
Uh-uh.
Oh, well then we can. I can hear it. I don't know where it's coming from. Huh? All right, just go on. I don't know what's going on.
I
You
don't hear any
find
music, Mama.
you don't hear it either?
No, ma'am.
I wonder if your computer is playing something. Do you have any other window open?
No, I don't.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mama Love, why don't you log out and log back in and we'll keep chatting
log
and
out.
maybe. Yeah, log out and log back in and we'll keep going
Right.
until you get back.
Okay.
Okay, Sally, we're listening.
Interesting. That it should be music that right now that's interfering with what she's
Mhm.
doing. Um, I spoke to my sister about a month or so ago, Rebecca, and was given an assignment to focus on what brings me joy. And it's always interesting to me that um, it always comes back to how I touch other people's lives. And I had a parent, coworker, reach out to me sometime last week to tell me that her son speaks of me often and wants me to come back to work and misses me. And this happened to be one of the children that gave me hell on a daily basis. And I thought it was very interesting to hear that coming from her. And I was touched that that was how he was feeling. And then we were sitting, Lane and I were coming from, I don't know where we were coming from, but a Donald Lawrence song came up from an album he did called Bible Stories. And I did a concert based on that album because it was just stories from the Bible and put to music. And she was in kindergarten, first grade when we did this because she's one of my students. And she said to me, Mom, you was dope as hell. I said, excuse me? She said, no, you think about it. You took these songs, told the Bible stories, put the songs together, and we were little people singing these songs. You was dope as hell. And I was like, I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that in my box of how I find my joy. And it's how I touch other people, how I care for others. And I had to pull my list back out and say, well, let me add this to the list. You know, I think for me, it's always been the creative side of me that for the world could tell me that's, you know, the world was telling me you're not enough. You don't measure up to your brothers. They're way more musical than you are. And then when I got into a spot where I could be myself and move with myself, I realized that I was more than enough. And screw what the messages were from my childhood about being in a house with those two magnanimous visions of creativity, musically creative people. But my way of doing me and my music, my creativity is the very essence of who I am. um, and will continue to be that. Um, and that's where my joy comes from. You know, I was trying not to go back into the cycle of anxiety and worry and da 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 da, and this is not happening, that's not happening, and how is God speaking to all that. And I just stopped and said, what do I have to be happy for? What is bringing me joy in this moment right now? And I thought about how much more happy can I be? My daughter is carrying a life within her and is blessed to do that. And the whole, I'm going to try not to cry, the whole issues that she's had with her womanhood. But God said, no, it's time. It's time. You know, and she's trying to wrap her head around that. And I'm looking at her like, but you have to understand when God says it's time, it's time. It doesn't matter what the doctors say and all the things that we believe about what our bodies can and cannot do. It's time. It's time. It's your time. It's your time. And how can I not be happy about that? And in that, there's a stack of hats that I've crocheted that I need to sit down and put into the beauty shop, the loctician shop that I go to. And, you know, talking to my godchild, my grand godchild last night, and she's talking about all the words, her sight words that she knows how to read. And so I put up a simple word to her saying she could tell me the letters, but she couldn't blend them. And I remember for Lena, I used to have a book where I had like the AY family, and she had an easel where she would just AY family. We would just go down, and we just blend all the letters that go with AY and made that family. And that's where this book came from last night. It's like if I take those families, take those words, and put them into a sentence quickly, and then go to the end and then move on to the next. So that's where that came from. But mine, for me, definitely my essence beyond my public image is the creativity that I have, how I use it, who I touch, and how they touch me. And therefore the fear has to go because I can't give into that anymore. I just can't. So yeah, there's that.
Whew, there it is. There it is. And I'm sitting here just absorbing everything you just said. Happy for your daughter and you, Elena, and the fact that you shared, you know, the physical issues she had with her being female and her cycle, so forth and so on. And the miracle, yeah, that you're able to witness and we're able to witness with you. Yeah, it brings me joy, great joy. Yeah, and that comparison, comparing yourself to other people, I can identify with that all my life. That kills your joy. That kills your joy. Thank you, Sally, for sharing.
Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to
Mm-mm.
leave the space and miss most of it, but I thank you for sharing what I did here. I resonate with a lot of it. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Who am I? Go ahead. Did I hear someone?
It's me.
Hi.
So I have scattered thoughts. It's
Yeah.
interesting, Sally, when you were like, they all felt like the same question, and for me, they felt so vastly different. And and I'm gonna say out of order for the way my mind thinks, right? So the who I am, I kind of rephrased in my head to like who were you before the world told you who you should be?
Mm.
And then I went to what would it mean to live from my core being every moment with nothing held back? What am I afraid of to discover? And then the last one being what is my essence beyond my public image? And they felt like three distinct perspectives of self. Um, Now, mind you, I absolutely did not get to all three because I got stuck on um, the middle one, which is where I started and stayed. Um, and I started with this. I'm afraid of. It says, not trusting myself with my own divine power. I'm afraid of not conducting myself within that power. I'm afraid that acknowledging or accepting my power holds me accountable in a way I'm not prepared. And then I stopped and I said, I'm afraid all of that is utter bullshit and a poor excuse to be less than myself. But the false logic seems to be if I don't believe, don't accept, then I can't be held accountable to it or to the people who see it. So what does it mean? It means true liberation, actualized liberation, embodied liberation. Living from my core being feels more like an event, like a jump, a leap. Like if I ever do it once, I'll know that I'll have to do it again and again and again. Something exhilarating and indescribable, but so, so necessary. Scattered thoughts, but that's what I had.
Mm. I was laughing to myself when you said the way you think, and it's always amazing to me how you assimilate, process. Oh, oh gosh, it's just amazing. That accountability piece stands out for me because when I'm in my core being, there's a responsibility.
Mm.
I'm responsible for the world I have created. I can't blame you or anyone else. This is my pinnacle or this is my mess, but I'm accountable for it. And sometimes it's easier for me to blame someone else. It's easier for me to say the system, my brothers, the job, you know. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And even without the blaming, sometimes it's easier for me to be your cheerleader, to hype you up, to hold a mirror to you, to show you how amazing you are and how beautiful you are and how wonderful and capable and powerful and divine you are, and convince you to see all of that in yourself than it is for me to turn that and look in the mirror and say, me too, Adande, you too, Adande. It ain't just everybody else, you too. You pretty smart and gifted, and God tends to you the same way God tends to all of us. You got things to say and that are unique and divinely yours, and a way about things that only you can bring to the table that is necessary, you too. But if I hold myself to remembering that on a daily basis, then I have to value that in myself all the time, which means I no longer can devalue. It can't be my voice that devalues. It can't be my voice that continues to recall. It can't be by my being or my doing that allows the repetition of things that people put on me. It can't be me doing that because I've accepted something that automatically contradicts it. So all the stuff that I might do because I've somehow along the way told myself that I'm not good enough and I'm not capable and I can't actually, I gotta stop doing. Because once you accept it, it's accepted. Once the bell is rung, it's rung. Once you hear it, it's been heard. If I say, whew, mm, mm. If I say yes to me, then saying no to me is no longer an option. Who Jesus. Okay, mm.
Ah,
Mama, you did this to me. You did this to me today.
Amen.
ah, I love it. I love it. Being your own cheerleader. Gosh. Ah, to convince you to see all of you, your uniqueness and all you bring to the table, valuing yourself. No, there's a section in A Course in Miracles that talks about false humility, how we show up feeling unworthy, undeserving, unloved, and how that is an affront, if you will allow, to God, because God made you in God's own image. You are an expression of God. So what is this about I am not worthy, I'm undeserving, I'm less than Adonde. And so I shrink instead of extending God through me to whatever environment I'm in or whatever God has called me to do and be at that time. That's some powerful stuff right there. Yes to me and being truly accountable to be. That's some powerful stuff. Thank you, Adante. I love the way you process and express yourself. Anyone else? All right. Hmm.
I am an earth loving, wild child, ceremonialist, sensual at essence. And when I remember myself without fear of what will happen, without fear of others' judgment, I am free. When I am me, my being brings greatest blessing. I thrive most in my being and in my gifts when I stay on my seat and welcome folks to come to me, or when I journey at right pace, which is very, very, very slow, or at least slow according to society's standards. For me, it just feels normal. I love the questions and the inquiry. Thank you so much, Mama Love and all.
I love it. Remember without fear. And that's what makes me shrink the judgment of others. You know, growing up an obese child, I'd walk into a room and I'd be the full body child right there in the room. And the eyes I would get and the stares, and it just made me want to disappear. But I couldn't disappear um, because there was something inside of me that said, I belong. I belong. And I kept going back, and almost to the point where I went back to those environments that made me feel less than. I don't know, out of fear, out of wanting to be loved and accepted. I really don't know. But today, and even now, there are moments when I find myself, especially in my family, shrinking, shrinking. So thank you, Taylor. Taya. My nephew's name is Taylor, and that just slipped out. Thank you, Taya, for your transparency. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
I would say that Adande and Taya have said in their sharing, have said everything I was going to say. Different way, but the essence. So I just want a plus one on I want a plus one on that, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for Spirit Rising. Um, because there's but one of us here with many expressions, but I didn't have to articulate my truth for it to be articulated and expressed, and I'm grateful.
Yes, Rebecca, I could resonate with everything that they were saying. And I love the fact I was going to do something on unity this morning. And I stopped. I said, no, I'm not ready for that this morning. But there is only one of us here. And I see now Misha has joined us. Good morning, Misha, or good afternoon. Momo has joined us. Good afternoon, Momo. Did you get? Hope you did. So anyone else before we move into Carolyn? I see your hand is up. I think maybe not. Yes.
Oh, you decided to
You're breaking up.
and I will let it pass.
Sorry, you don't have good audio right now. It might just be a minor adjustment. I don't know how to correct that. Anyone else before we move on into our second set of query?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna come back
come
because
on.
I had an insight that weaves together our earlier theme and our present one, and your questions, which is so beautiful. The brilliance and luminosity of spirit. We began today talking about, sort of how we were arriving and, you know, a little anxious, tired, not resting well, some excitement, feeling the need to sort of root and wrap in practice and community in these times of turbulence, empathic, picking up what picking up not only sort of what's happening or responding not only to what's happening in our own lives, in our specific lives, our particular lives, but in the larger collective life. And the agitation and stuff that is there is, we're sensing that and holding that. But it occurs to me that I could talk about the turbulence and tumult as an unwanted irritant, as a something that shouldn't be, as an intruder, an imposition on the state of things. But it, like everything, serves a purpose, right? Serves a purpose. It belongs. It belongs. these times of dissolution and all of the tempest tossed waves. They belong, and what is their pedagogical value to us? This brings me to your questions, Mama Love, and how beautifully placed they are. Because in the tumult, we are being nudged and perhaps even pushed or shoved, right? It's not just a nudge, into more truthful, authentic expressions of being. The fear of others' judgment, the let me say no to myself patterns, all of that this energy stirs up and is seeking to get us to move through it, to be who we are. It's an agitation. It's like if I were a cosmic organizer, right? And I'm agitating the state of things, the existing patterns and practices in order to provoke and evoke better ways of being, right? And I think that's what's happening. So what is your essence beyond your public image? These are times that are seeking to get us to our essence beyond the image. The images are, and the leading with the image, that's a part of what the tumult is shaking up. The practiced fictions. Who am I before the world told me who I should be is this invitation to be who I am and what I am beyond the conditioning that doesn't quite fit. What would it mean to live from my core being? Well, hell, when the comforts get stripped, I'm left with my core being. And the tumult and the turbulence disturb the comfort in ways that make me more aware of what is at my core. Right? So I'm saying as explicitly as I know how that this holy agitation and turbulence didn't just come out of the ether. Right? It serves a purpose, and you've picked up on that purpose by the questions that you have asked us. Right? That are getting us to what is essential, what is real for me, for us, and living from that place. Right, living from that place. If I say yes to me, then saying no to me is not an option. My, right? And the nature of all oppressive systems is that they issue a categorical no. They say no to who and what we are for the purpose of control. They use control, they use judgment, and violently upheld and enforced judgment as ways of contorting us to whatever their ends or purposes are, but the fundamental energy is a no. So this unqualified yes to me is what the times are inviting us to practice, right? And it feels like something big is at stake because something big is at stake.
Mhm.
right? Something big is at stake. Sally said, it's time for new life.
New life.
New life is coming. New life is coming. When I was a child, I spake as a child, but when I became a man, I put away my childish things, right? Like, new life is coming. Do you not yet see it? I am doing a new thing. And these practice fictions, these pretenses, these living within judgments that are not our own, right? Whatever ways we kneel before the altar of no, we are not meant for that anymore, and things are being stirred up so that we cannot comfortably maintain those postures. That's my download, just from this conversation thus far, is why I needed to be on this call.
Well, from your first offering, those questions were generated because when you led us in the discussion of attending to our core being and not to the conditions outside of us, I had to sit with that, and I've been sitting with that all during the month of July, and have sat with it before. But that's why I have to be a spirit rising, because at this season in my life, this is a whole paradigm shift. And even though I've been with spirit rising for years, it has taken years for me to unlayer, unlearn, and walk in a new way. Yes, God is doing a new thing, but I look through a glass darkly. But I'm beginning to get my vision back. I'm beginning to see clearly now, and I'm thankful. Momo, and then Misha. Misha,
Hello.
hello.
Um, hi. I really resonate like with the part of like I don't know, my head just keeps saying like I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not gonna be that anymore. And it's interesting. Come on, my cat's like yelling at me. It's interesting because it's like it will be positive things that I actually don't want to do anymore. Whether it's like being no longer wanting to be like codependent with like what I made up a word. I've been making up words to do rants. It's really about my job, but like I have to be like kind of respectable. So I like made up I'm basically mocking fun of like therapy words. And I gave myself like it's like a freelancer facilitator feelings disorder where it's like managers are depending on my intuitiveness and my sensitivities, but also like feeling uncomfortable by it. And so I get affirmed when I say I'm not doing that. And sometimes I don't know logically why. It could be like text this client. I'm like, something in my stomach tells me not to. So I'm gonna wait. But I say it with so much discernment and confidence. And I think it could be really scary. And then later I get the information later and I'm like, I knew it. Like I knew it in my stomach not to do this. But then I don't get an apology. It's like, oh well, it's like brushed over. Like I'm like, no, 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 I need to go back. We need to go back. So if we're going to critique people and like give them growth areas, go back and affirm them. And also like be like, thank you, or I didn't see why you said no, but now I see it now. And for my job is to also like give myself that because people are not going to do that. My manager's not going to go back and be like, oh yeah, like I don't know how you actually some of them do. I had a manager ask me like, how do you know what you know? Like you have like this prism power about you. I was just like, I don't know. And I like kind of skipped away energetically. I was like, I don't know. But like this person was so like looking at me like they really wanted me to tell them the secret of it all. And I did not know the secret besides me just being me. And I'm thinking about like I cried last week. I don't know why. I cry I cry every week, but last week I was crying and I was talking about why it's important for people's bodies to rest. I was like on the bus going to work and I was just like, my mentor told me in Pilates that when Black folks particularly stop working or get fired, their back is the first thing to go. And it made me really sad. Even thinking about it makes me sad because it's like if you don't have if your spine is messed up, you literally, like, that's the trunk of your whole body. You cannot do anything. And to realize that a Black person, maybe who's an elder, is having to like not work anymore against their will because they have to survive, and then like slowly like depreciate, like it like makes me so angry. Like I can just think about it, it makes me so angry. And so I think about why it's so important to say no. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Whether it's like an emotional thing, like I don't want to do that, I cannot do that, get someone else. And I was just thinking about this heavily because it's like when Black people, particularly like when I say no, even if I say the most sweetest, nicest way, there's always a combative reason to why I need to get over myself. And so I think that I've spent these few years actually removing this public sense of me, whether it's crying in a session, whether it's like when someone gets smart with me saying, I don't like, I'll get sarcastic back, like, okay, like, girl, what? And I don't think people are used to that. But also, like, for example, like, my supervisor looks up to me. She's like, you'll just wear whatever you want to work. I'm like, yes, I'm going to wear whatever I want to work because I'm working with teenagers. Like, if I want to wear fairy wings to work because someone's dealing with social anxiety, I'm going to wear freaking fairy wings to work because it makes me feel good and I'm sad today. And I know they're sad too. So I guess for me, it's just like I want to continue to believe myself, even when it makes people uncomfortable, even when it makes them feel inspired, and especially when it makes them feel disgust. Because sometimes what I've been feeling is like disgust. And I'm like, okay, I can't shrink myself. I said no. So anyway, I just want my hope is that, even as you move through your posture, right? Like in Pilates, like it actually hurts. Like what Miss Rebecca said, like that posture that you were doing doesn't work anymore. And you have to do fine tweaks to that because you can really hurt yourself. Same thing in therapy. Like you have to do fine tweaks to uncovering and unmasking your shadow side. Because if you overdo it, you can literally implode. And so I'm thinking about that for myself. Like, what do I need to do small steps for so that I can remain true to me in a way that's not overwhelming? That's all.
And that's a lot, my dear. That's a lot. I love it. I love it. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I can identify being a codependent, being a Black elder, and having spinal issues right here, right now, even as I sit here. Uh, yeah, it's I'm masking the shadow self a little at a time. Yeah, because it can be overwhelming at one time. I love it that you're free to cry. I so desire just to. I used to be free to cry, and now for some reason, I think that uh, I shouldn't cry. I'm strong, and like Adande say, who told you that? Who told you, strong Black woman? Yeah, okay, debunk that. Yeah. So thank you, Momo. Thank you so much. I love your words. What was that? The facilitator. Who was that? Freelance facilitator of disorder. Was that it?
It's okay. Okay. It's feelings freelancer facilitator disorder. Just like
Oh,
giving all up in
disorder.
everybody's business.
Facilitator disorder. I love it. All in everybody's business. Take care of yourself, boo. Take care of yourself. Oh, take care of yourself, Z. Take care of yourself. Misha, I saw your hand, didn't I? Where did Misha go?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, sweetheart. Did I
Um,
did I mispronounce your name?
no, that's me. That's me, Nisha. Um, yeah, I'm just echoing what everyone has been sharing as well. I really love that there's but one of us here, and I value that so much because it really is. We know it's just so rare to find these kinds of mirrors and reflections, but I think I have been struggling so much within myself, with the learning and realizing the things that I feel and believe about myself, and being challenged in my relationships to do something else. Like it's not working to to feel the way that I do about myself. And so I've been doing some review and reflection, and part of that included going back through my notes from Spirit Rising over the last few months. And one of the questions that really shifted things for me, which I feel like is very much what we're all talking about here, is what is Spirit trying to develop in you? I don't remember when that came about, but we were talking about what is Spirit trying to develop in you. And I just feel like I'm being confronted with every story, every fear, every insecurity, those practice fictions, like you said, um, about myself, and realizing that they're prisons, and, juxtaposing that with this very real belief that I have in who I am, in my ancestors. I mess with them. They mess with me. Like, I know that to be real also. And I visited the church today. Like, I actually went to Black church today for the first time, and I don't even know how long. And it's
Wow.
the pastor was talking about or no, he was actually just trying to do an altar call, and it was pretty crowded, and so people were having it was taking people a minute to get down to the altar, and he said, push through. And for whatever reason, that just spoke to me, and really just allow, I need to allow that which I am to just push through, to push through and meet these moments that life is providing me with, to be stripped down to my wholeness. It's just like all of these teachings that we have been circling around for the last months are coming together. They're coming to a head. It's not cute. It's not pretty. It's not easy. I really am being stripped down to my wholeness. And I think that I have been collapsing under that because there is so much familiarity. Even if it's not serving me, I know it. I know these stories. I know these roles. I know this script. And it feels so unfamiliar and scary to try to consider, who am I without all of these things? How do I meet that moment? But I have a lot more faith when it is that true source of my soul that I just allow to push through. I have a lot more capability when I get a sneak at my ancestors actually like me. They love me. They here. Like, they really, really are in me, around me, supporting me, wanting, rooting for me, wanting this. And they're bad as hell. Like, there's no question. So yeah, I mean, yeah, just same that everyone is been talking about. And the last thing I think that I like remembered from some of the things that we've been talking about the last few months is, I think it was Delisha who talked about doing ceremony around some of the things, that some of those practice fictions and things that we need to lay down and allow them to rest. And that's part of that, that clearing, in order to allow us to have the space to take on something new. So that's just my little review, but I'm so grateful for this space, for this practice ground, for all of the reminders that each of you all have, um, for us to just actually be ourselves, who we're created to be. Yeah, just tapping into the source of ourselves. So thank you. Thank y'all for being you. I need that.
And thank you for being you, because there is only one of us here. I am because you are. And what you give to me, I receive. And you get to keep it and grow and expand on it. That's the beautiful thing about it all. You get to expand on it. And being stripped down to wholeness is like shedding your skin. It's very painful, very, very painful. And sometimes you do feel fatigue and lethargic, but when you get to the other side, your ancestors are waiting, rooting you on, and you do just push through. And that's why we're here for each other, helping each other push through. Alicia, good morning. We're glad that you could join us. How are you? Where did she go? I thought Alicia had her hand up. Maybe she did not. Okay. Well, family, Rebecca, did you hear that Misha suggested that we have a ceremony around those old narratives when we move into our new home?
I did. I heard her share that was an insight that resonated with her that Delisha had shared.
Yes.
And immediately what I thought of was fall is a really good time for that, because it is fall, right? And we've got the solstice, on the 21st of September, right, when summer ends and fall begins, that might be a good ritual or practice, the shedding, right, activity or exercise might be really good then. So fall came to heart and mind, and we could do it right in that change when we move from the fecundity of life, which summer so beautifully expresses, into the laying down. If we move with the seasonal energies, it can amplify our intention, because we are working not only with our own personal forces, but also with we're in alignment with other scaled forces that are also doing the same. So we might use that transition around the third week in September for this.
I love it. I just want to toss it out. I'm in such anticipation of being back in person. I'm just so excited. And Momo, I know you might be able to come to St. Louis at that time. Hopefully, yes, yes.
Yeah, no, I think Mo is in town. Mo, we have an event later that month, right? At the end of that month.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could probably tag team so that we do, I think the event is on that Saturday, and we could do this on that Sunday so that we do it while you are in town. And Misha, it would be really good to be able to develop and design that experience with you if you were up for that too.
I am willing to show up. Yeah, I can show up.
I'm excited. I'm excited and anticipatory. I haven't been able to hug Momo, haven't been able to hug Misha. I am excited. Hi, Alicia. Yes, welcome. Your voice is welcome in this space. Would you like to share? I saw your hand up earlier.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah, because it seemed like the devil's really busy. Because
Ooh, honey.
because somebody had called me just a minute ago to start some drama. I'm like, oh, not today, that devil, not today. But boost you, Satan. But anywho, so the one of the questions. Well, first of all, excuse my man. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and
Good
human folk. Hey, all right. So the question that some of the questions that I saw, one of the things that I want to answer to is when it talks about, I want to make sure I read that question. The last one that kind of, so when it says that, when you had asked the question about, let me go up a little bit. What am I afraid to discover if I go all the way in? And that has that kind of triggered me a little bit, just a little bit, because when you use the word afraid, that associated with fear, doubt, uncertainty, discomfort. And so as I'm pondering, what am I afraid of? And I'm afraid of a lot of things that I sometimes don't want to admit to, and because it forces me to confront it, right? So if I admit to it or admit to what I'm afraid of, then I have to confront it. So to avoid the confrontation, I don't say anything about it. I kind of put it up on the rug and just kind of let it, let's sit up on the rug, and then the rug, instead of rising, right? Because I'm instead of putting all them fears under that rug, and eventually it blocking my way of going through the kitchen or the bathroom or whatever. So then I have to kind of take the thing up from under that rug and say, okay, let me deal with you. And then now that caused anxiety, that caused frustration, that caused some thought that I necessarily should be thinking. And so if I have to go all the way in, and one thing that I've always been afraid of is my rage. Because I've seen it. So when I was younger, I had not only expressed rage in a way that it was unhealthy, that was, and it harmed others, right? I harmed others with my rage. And that is something that if I ever have to go back to that rage, I think that I will not be able to recover from that because of all of the other ills that I had experienced as a kid all the way up to adult. And many of them are systemic, many of them are social, many of them are psychological, so it's just and physical. So it's just a lot of ills that I have to deal with. And so I'm afraid that if I go all the way in with my rage, I am going to be incarcerated. And so because of the tools that I didn't have as a kid to be able to kind of understand the emotions, understand, process the things that have happened to me, why I have experienced that, why I have went through it, why it happened to me, why was I selected to be the quote unquote victim of that. And so, and then because, as I shared last Sunday, when I verbalize my anger or my story, I am pouring as an angry Black woman. But when I write it, I'm an author. And so I've learned that I don't matter. I've learned that my story doesn't matter. I've learned that my existence doesn't matter. I've learned that no matter how much I do that's positive, it's always going to be compounded with something negative. It's always going to be it's like when I do one thing positive, it's always going to be something or someone or somebody or somewhat or some whom or some place, they're gonna say, well, here go 10 things you didn't do right. And so it asks if I have to do an inventory of what is my purpose? Why do I exist? And then that add on to my rage bucket, I call it, right? And so I'm afraid that if a thread somehow gets unthreaded, and I go all the way into my rage, there's no recovery from it. And I heard that some people say that you can actually die from what is called we call it instinctive rage, right? To the point where they can actually kill you spiritually, physically, mentally, things of that sort. And so that's one of the fears that's what I'm afraid not to go all the way in. Like that's something that I always have to protect that at all times, because that is something I don't ever want to experience ever again. Because thank God I was able to get out of that in a way that it didn't cause me it didn't erase my being, and it didn't erase who I am. So, and so I do a lot of therapy and journaling and praying and all of this, like to make sure that doesn't come up. So that's the one thing that I would touch on, that I'm afraid I'm afraid to go in on that. And what people don't understand is that, it's by design, of course, and I know that it is not something that can be erased, and that's why I'm constantly asking my Holy Father to keep giving me ways to kind of continue in the midst of chaos, continue in the midst of this unsavory world, right? I live in a world that it doesn't welcome me, it doesn't appreciate me, it doesn't validate me, it doesn't affirm me. There's all of those positive things that it should do to me, right? And it doesn't. I shouldn't have to go to a Black Healers Collective meeting or to a healing salon or to a healing house to get some element of healing, right? That's something that it should be given because I'm a human being. And that's something that I should get regardless, right? And so that is, but then once again, all of the other things all of my other needs that are not being met add on to my rage, and then I'm duct taping, gorilla taping the lid on the can of my rage. I'm trying to keep that tape up, and so every day I constantly keep adding more gorilla tape on it, because the gorilla tape is it's like it's unpeeling because of more of the rage that's been added onto that can. And so I'm afraid to go all the way in with my rage. So that's what I have.
Wow. Thank you, Alicia. I could identify with so much of that because I'm afraid of my anger. And I know I have a right to express my anger, but I'm afraid of expressing my anger because for so many years, I was punished, ostracized, rejected. And I can identify with that, but thank Mother God, Father Eternal, that we have this healing space that we call Spirit Rising, the Black Collective Healing, where we can take our power back, where we can be seen and heard. And you can express your rage safely with us because this is a safe space. Thank you, my dear, for sharing so transparently. I love you all. It looks like we're not going to get to the other 3 sets of questions. I'll hold those for later. Are there any final reflections and thoughts before I close us out with prayer and song?
Well, I invite your continued prayer. We are in, I asked you all last week to pray as we are in negotiations about this, about a new home that both serves as office and a house for healing, so sanctuary. And it looks like things are moving in our favor, though they did not unfold in the way that we anticipated that they would. So we're still in process, and I'm prayerful that we will have that things will draw to their conclusion in this week in a really positive way. So we're still moving forward. It didn't go as we expected. We've got a bit more to do, but I'm trusting that we will be able to do it and cross the finish line. And that, this is meant for us. And so my hope, desire, affirmation is that by the end of next week, we have a deal. That is a clear way forward and a contract within the next week or two. Some things just take a little longer. So I continue to ask for your prayers and your support in this. Our collective energy will help to aid this labor, right? We're in the midst of labor, and we'll have a healthy baby on the other side. And by that time, I'll be back in St. Louis, and we can, if all goes as I'm hoping, then I might see you on Sunday in a different place. We'll see, though. There are lots of things that have to happen for that to line up within a week. But we know who we serve, and all things are possible.
Oh, I love it. In a week. Oh my goodness. My. Woo. God moves. He's doing great things. Yes. Something's wrong. I don't know what's happening. I'm like Alicia now. The devil is a liar. This computer has been acting up all morning. So yes, Becca, we stand powerfully for that. We know that God is perfecting those details, and that we are trusting and believing that if it is God's will, and we know that our will is God's will, His will is ours. That next Sunday, who knows? I might be able to get more hugs on the first Sunday of August. I'm not going to go into the energy of August, the Leo energy. I'm not going into that. We don't have time. Anyone else like to share and reflect? I'm going to pray us out, and Latasha's going to play I think I'll just pray us out right now, because I have a biological need that I need to address. And I'm going to do that. So if you would take a few deep breaths, center yourself in that spirit that dwells within you. Spirit of life, source of all wisdom and compassion. We give thanks for this time together, for the voices we've heard, for the hearts we've opened, and for the sacred presence we've shared. As we return to the world beyond this circle of love, may we carry with us the light we've kindled here. May that light guide our steps in justice, soften our words in love, and strengthen our hearts in service. Help us to walk gently, to listen deeply, to live boldly, rooted in truth, grounded in peace, held by grace and connected by spirit that dwells within all of us. There's only one of us here. Amen. Ashe. And so it is.
Okay.
All right. Unmute yourselves. Say goodbye. Have a good week.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Mama
Great week.
Urana.
Thank you, Mama
Thank you, Mama
Love.
Love.
Love
Thank
you.
you, everybody. Be
Bye.
blessed.
Bye. Bye, Caroline. Be blessed, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.